Okay, I'm not one of those people who complains about the school system because I'm too lazy to do it. I actually do pretty well in the system. I get A's and B's, I'm fine. This isn't about me. This is about the stuff that I've been noticing. See, during my last year of high school, I've had a lot of time to look around me at the other people. And I've also had a lot of time to notice how number-oriented and shallow the school system is. It's a strongly held belief of mine that going to school, you should learn how to develop your thinking and not what to think. But it seems like the school does neither of those things. They just don't care. They just go, okay, here's the curriculum. Let's pump this into the kids as fast as we can, regardless of how they've developed or what they've learned or what they want to do. And then we'll just see how many scores they get on their tests, and that's it. Who cares? Who cares what they learn? Who cares what the content is? Who cares how it's taught to them? Who cares how their brains actually develop? Or if they develop in different ways? They're just numbers now. There are so many kids who have such unique skills, unique attributes that are begging to be developed and to shine. But just because they think differently and they operate differently, they just fail. Because apparently you're not supposed to think that way. Because apparently you're not being creative in the right way. Apparently you're not being smart in the right way. You don't try and fit into this box that they've been trying to mold you into that's getting smaller and smaller as the school vision just gets narrower and narrower. And heaven forbid you're not good at the type of way that they make kids learn. Heaven forbid you're a visual learner that doesn't memorize things well, that you need something else to back it up. Heaven fucking forbid you're a person whose brain works differently. For example, there's this guy who is in my year. He is brilliant at making things like art things and woodwork. He's brilliant at designing things, and he's really good at math, just works a bit differently to other people. But the one thing that he's not good at is memorizing things. He can never memorize things because the way that they teach us to memorize things doesn't work with his brain. But people just refuse to listen to that. They just think that he must be dumb. He's not trying hard enough. You know how in high school you get the advanced class, then you get the highest general class, medium general class, and the lowest class? And each subject, and you get sorted into those classes depending on how smart you are in that subject. He's at the bottom classes. And that's all because he can't memorize things to make it into exams. Because writing out an essay at a very specific caliber is supposed to be relevant. Not everyone performs well in that way. That is a very, very narrow way to test people. And now this guy is at the bottom classes where he does not deserve to be. And because he knows that this is unfair, but he knows he can't do anything about it, he just gave up. And now he's just spiraling down and down by himself because he knows that he can't do anything about it. And now he can't give a shit. He had so much potential. He's a fucking brilliant person. But now he's gonna waste his life doing nothing just because the school system told him that he can't do it. Because he didn't do it in the right way. Because heaven forbid we realize that kids learn differently. And you can't just shove something in a child's face and expect them to learn it. And yes, we need to be competitive. That's how you get your hard work out. That's how you want to try and be the best you can be. But that's how you get motivated. That's my point. If you just shove random irrelevant information into someone's face and see if it sticks, and just force them to learn this idea like, this is how the world works, this is all you'll be. These numbers are all that matters. You fail your final exams, your life is over. You're gonna live under a bridge for all your life. Who cares if you're really brilliant at math, but you failed history, or you failed some random thing that doesn't even matter, but somehow we put it in as part of your exams. So I'm sorry, you fail at life. That can't motivate people. That's not encouraging people. All you're doing is just pushing people down. Who wants to get competitive and motivated and work hard when all they're being told is, might as well give up now because I can't do it. I don't fit into the school system. You know those kids, the kids that get left behind? Well, there's gonna be a lot more of those. Because that little box that they try to mold you into seems to just be getting smaller and smaller. That box full of arbitrary things about who you should be and how your brain should work and what you should be interested in. I can see that in my school already. I can see each new year that comes in is trying so hard and they just look so out of place because they don't know what to do. They're not being told to act like humans. They're just being told, don't act like a kid. Don't be rowdy or anything. Not one word out of you. Mistakes are not allowed. There is no room for that. And don't even get me started how overly female-friendly the schools are. Boys are being treated like they're just retarded girls. They're not allowed to be what they naturally are as their gender. Like, they're naturally more energetic, or they're naturally rowdier, and naturally more rambunctious. They're not allowed to do that. I mean, if you look at what's happening in my school or in my year, all of the boys are kind of just off to the side, just in the corner, like, they're not really sure what to do. They're being treated like they're defective, and like they're already a bad person. So they're kind of being molded into that, because you've already created this role for them. And because they're growing up and they don't know anything, they're being forced into those roles, and they're forcing themselves into those roles, because they're being taught that that's the only thing they can be. And you're never going to be good enough. That's what it is. You're never going to be good enough, and you're always going to be carrying this invisible whip weighed down with the words that they keep telling you, lashing yourself with it as you wonder why you're not good enough, or why real life doesn't reflect anything that you were taught in school. You're just gonna hate yourself because you didn't fit into that box. And how did parents become so entitled? Why is it that a teacher can't go up to parents and say, your child is failing because of something that they're not getting, or they're not paying attention? We need to sort this out. We all need to sort this out because of the well-being of the child. I don't care how perfect you think they are. I don't care how good of a job you think you're doing. The fact of the matter is, they are failing and we need to sort it out. Why can't they just be honest? Why is it that if a teacher dares to say that the child is not doing as well as the parent thinks, the parent just immediately goes and shouts at the teacher and blames them, like, oh, little Billy tried to set the school on fire? Well, that's your fault. As a teacher, you should have known that. You should have known that little Billy likes to set fire to people and schools. You should have known that little Billy has a fucking psychotic complex. And heaven forbid, I know I keep saying that, but heaven forbid a teacher decides to care about the kids and be creative and care about the curriculum and want to change it up to actually teach the kids how to think out of the box, how to develop their thinking and understanding, to notice things in the world and how the world works. Because teachers aren't encouraged to be creative. All teachers are taught is, you better teach the curriculum to the letter. And who cares what's on the curriculum? Let's just put some arbitrary shit on there, like some random quotes that you have to memorize, and make sure you write an essay on something that has nothing to do with anything. And if you fail that, then you fail at life. Who cares if this actually has anything to do with life? Just the school courses are just so out of touch with what they're supposed to be doing. Like, for example, maths. I hate maths. I really, really hate maths. But I understand why it's there. I understand why us learning about angles and triangles and trigonometry and everything is developing how our brain solves problems and how it works. We're not going to use these things in the real world later on unless we're engineers or mathematicians or something, but we have the skills of solving problems and looking at problems from breaking it down into different little perspectives to work it out. I understand why maths is there. Every other subject is just hammering in this arbitrary curriculum and then moving on. Like it's nothing. It does nothing. Like history. I get we're supposed to learn what happens, but the way that they teach it, we have no sympathy for it. We have no understanding of why it happened or how it happened. Why do you think that we never learn that history repeats itself and to recognize the science to stop that? Why do you think that feminism and SJW logic so easily seeped into the schools and universities? It's because we don't give a shit anymore. We don't give a shit what kids are learning. Because it's all just, let's slap these numbers and quotes in your face, because that's what the curriculum says. Make sure you get a high mark on your school fucking report. That's it. Who cares why you're learning it or what you think? Who cares if you come out of school wondering why you went in there in the first place? If you come out of school no longer the ambitious young person who wants to go and do something great, but now this person who just wants to drink their life away because they got told that they were different and they didn't learn the right way. Or if you come out of school a little fucking monster who hates all of this sex or this gender because they think that in the past that sex or that gender was involved in doing something that wasn't exactly ideal. You know, and they're probably turned into that little monster because the teacher they had was a hardcore bigot, but no one cared. The school board didn't care. The school itself didn't care because no one bothered looking in at the first place. They're just like, are they teaching the curriculum? Well, okay, they can be as opinionated as fuck and bigoted as they want, but they're teaching the curriculum, we don't give a shit. You know, and someone might be seeing this going, well, you're just younger. you're so naive, you just don't know that that's the way it is. Well, my question to you is, why is that the way it is? Why can't schools realize that people work differently? We should be learning how to develop ourselves and develop thinking. We should be learning things that actually help us in the world. Because that's not just the way it is. It's not like the laws of gravity or evolution that are how the world works, and you can't just stop believing in them and they'll not be there anymore. This isn't just some ingrained law that's just how the way it is. We can fucking change it. So why aren't we fucking changing it? Why does no one give a shit anymore? And those kids who have it even worse, the kids with the mental disabilities and the social disabilities, you're the ones that have trouble because their brain has something wrong in it. You're supposed to be approaching those people carefully. Approach those kids carefully and think about how they learn. Think about the different ways that they have to substitute and the different things that you have to do to go about getting them the same opportunities and education as everyone else in the school. The purpose of having a carer for them is to have someone who actually fucking cares. Someone who knows how to handle people who don't function right in the rest of the school. You're supposed to approach them and go, it's okay. You have some difficulties. We can work around it. It's gonna be okay. You might have to work a bit harder than everyone else, but that's okay. We can do it. I'm your carer. I can do this. But no, instead the school hires the grumpiest fuck who just sits around and hits them like cattle. If they step a foot out of line because their brain works differently and they don't realize what they're doing is wrong, instead of firmly but carefully telling them that what they're doing is wrong or working around it to try and help them, you just smack them until they get back in line with all the other cattle and keep going. Until they just get out of your way because they're just being annoying little kids. And it's not like it's your fucking job to treat them like human beings and actually help them. And it's just, how the fuck did they even get that position if they weren't capable of handling children? Why did they get the position and were just able to smack those kids back in line? Because the school doesn't fucking give a shit who takes care of the kids or how. This wasn't a normal video about a normal subject. I'm working on something, but it's taking me a while, and I'm in the middle of exams, so it should be about next week where I get it out. But I had to talk about this, I guess. Because, again, it doesn't affect me, but it doesn't have to affect me for me to care. I've seen so many people in my year and the years below me who have such potential and who wanted such good lives, but they can't because they've been slowly chipped away at until all of their hope and their motivation to do something is just gone because they don't fit into this arbitrary standard of what we should be. They're not being taught to be as smart and as hardworking as they can be. They're being taught that they have to be this specific type of person or they just fail at life. So yeah, it's a kind of busy week. That's why I haven't been replying to comments or doing anything like that. And the video I'm doing next week, since I'm a small channel, I have to take on feminists and SJWs or anyone. It doesn't have to be them, just any crazy fuck. But I generally have to take on the ones with the largest subscriber base. So if my channel ever gets huge dislikes and lots of hate, then that's why. But honestly, I don't give a shit anymore. I don't think that them using their audience like they're bullies to try and intimidate people because we have a difference in opinion is gonna scare me off. Because if I don't do it now, then when am I gonna do it? I made this channel so I could say what I have to say. And if I let intimidation get the hold of me, then there's no point in me making this channel. So anyway, what do you think?